Good morning and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center Spokane. For all of you that are here today in the sanctuary and for everybody that's visiting us online, we appreciate all of you being here. As our mission states, we are a vibrant community growing through spiritual practice and love. I am Jeff Hunter. I'll be your platform assistant this morning, and I would ask you just to take your cell phone out and check it to make sure that it's turned off. Thank you. As always, we want to begin our time together by sharing our opening affirmation. Together we affirm there's only one power, presence, and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life living through and as each one of us, all of us. Today we will hear from our guest speaker, Jeff Tawney, with his talk on who we are and why we are here. And our music today is provided by Cheryl Miller-Arndt, and Theodora will provide us with a reading and an opening with a prayer. But first, Rick and Julia, our song leaders, will start us off with our community song.
Good morning, and please stand if you're able and join Julia and I in one of my favorite congregational songs, Sanctuary.
Good morning. The reading this morning is from A Course in Miracles workbook. Is this okay? Is that better? Who am I? I am God's Son, complete and healed and whole, shining in the reflection of His love. In me is His creation sanctified and guaranteed eternal life. In me is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without opposite. I am the holy home of God Himself. I am the heaven where His love abides. I am His holy sinlessness itself. for in my purity abides his own. Our use of words is almost over now. Yet, in the final days of this 1 year we gave to God together, you and I, we found a single purpose that we shared. And thus, you joined with me, so what I am are you as well. The truth of what we are is not for words to speak of nor describe, yet we can realize our function here, and words can speak of this and teach it too, if we exemplify the words in us. We are the bringers of salvation. We accept our part as saviors of the world, which through our joint forgiveness is redeemed. And this, our gift, is therefore given us. We look on everyone as brother and perceive all things as kindly and as good. We do not seek a function that is past the gate of heaven. Knowledge will return when we have done our part. We are concerned only with giving welcome to the truth. Ours are the eyes through which Christ's vision sees a world redeemed from every thought of sin. Ours are the ears that hear the voice of God proclaim the world as sinless. Ours, the minds which join together as we bless the world. And from the oneness that we have attained, we call to all our brothers, asking them to share our peace and consummate our joy. We are the holy messengers of God who speak for him and carrying his word to everyone whom he has sent to us. We learn that it is written on our hearts, and thus our minds are changed about the aim for which we came and which we seek to serve. We bring glad tidings to the Son of God, who thought he suffered. Now he is redeemed. And as he sees the gate of heaven stand open before him, he will enter in and disappear into the heart of God. And now it's time for prayer. So let us take a deep breath and blow it out forcefully. Again. And a third time. We relax into this moment and say, Father, Mother God, we thank you for creating us in your image and likeness. What an amazing gift. Help us to keep in mind who we really are. Spirit, your beloved creation, in whom you are well pleased. Help us to hold to that truth. I am the image and likeness of God, of spirit, of love itself. I am the image and likeness of love itself. If ever an ugly voice within tries to make me doubt who I am or who someone else is, I can hold to the spiritual truth of Genesis 1 that gives me the authority to claim my holy birthright as God's beloved. Let us bask in that truth and love. And so it is. Amen.
This composition is an arrangement of an old Russian hymn made primarily with bells. And when the Russian people were no longer free to worship in public, they held this tune in their hearts to worship. You will hear large bells and small bells.
Wow. It was what I needed, that length of time to settle myself. Because I'll be honest, I'm nervous today. It's been a while, almost a year since I've been up here. Tuesday nights we have A Course in Miracles, and Cheryl is here at the piano, and Cheryl's in here practicing through the week. Tells you a lot about her dedication and what she is passionate about. Well, good morning, Unity. Welcome to those you here, and also welcome to you online. And I say online because for a lot of people, we are watching this message at different times in our life and in our world, right? So the message that we're hearing today could very well be something that resonates with you tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, or a year from now. So with that said, I thank you for tuning in. In the 12 powers, July represents understanding. And I think it's not ironic that we find ourselves in a place where we're trying to understand what is going on. We find ourselves curious about what we should do and asking ourselves a lot of questions. Since the new year, I've been asking myself this question: what is mine to do? It's been a difficult year. And the bigger question is for us is what is ours to do? Yet before we ask that question of ourselves, we have to know one thing, and that is, who are we? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I had the power here. There we go. So, and just so you know, the color for understanding is gold. That's supposed to be gold. I'm trying to keep in a rhythm here and in a theme. So who is our who? Let me tell you a story. Many years ago, I found myself in transition. I was downsized from corporate America, packaged out, and trying to decide what I was going to do in life. My identity was who I was in that big corporate organization, and I found myself going into self-employment. I had a hobby and a skill of building things. I love working with my hands, so I started off just being a handyman and just painting and doing things that I could around. I had the opportunity, it was a huge opportunity, to go to work for a custom home builder, large custom home builder, as a finish carpenter. And I got to work alongside men who were third, fourth generation finish carpenters. It's not something, it was divine, because that's not something you can just go out and get a job to do. I had little knowledge, but I had the opportunity to work. What I lacked in confidence, I made up in tools. To my ex-wife's chagrin, I spent a lot of money on tools. And while the other guys that I was working with were showing up to the job sites in their pickups, and I'm like, how are these guys doing all this work with a pickup? But they had everything packed. I would show up with a pickup and a 12-foot trailer loaded with tools. And one of the things that I became the go-to guy. I came from being a Boy Scout. It was always be prepared, right? So if I thought we were going to need something, I saved my money up and I bought it. And I could literally show up at a job site with my trailer and build anything. That was my confidence. What I lacked was relationship. What I lacked was understanding the job, understanding the project, and understanding the materials and the relationship of the tool to the project. So I learned and made a lot of mistakes. In fact, if you saw me cut crown molding back then, you would have seen a large pile of scrap, of fall off. And I used to look at the other guys and wonder, like, how do they do that whole room and have just a little bit of scrap? But that was my learning curve. The bigger lesson of what I learned was to understand that the relationship was the most important thing. You can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't have the relationship and the skills of how to use those tools, they're meaningless. So what is that connection with us today? We can have all the understanding about God, the universe, awakening, and spiritual consciousness, but if we don't have the skills on how to build and foster relationships, then we're going to have a lot of waste. When I joined the board a year and a half ago, I told you and I told the board members that what I cared about was not what we got accomplished, but how we accomplished it. And if in the process of what we were accomplishing was leaving, for the lack of better terms, folks, bodies in our wake, then we weren't doing the work. Now, I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. We are created for connection, belonging, and we find purpose. We find purpose in a common goal and a common good. Wolves live in packs. Whales live in pods. Sheep and birds live in flocks. Elk, deer, and cattle live in herds. And humans live in tribes. Whatever you want to call it. And that connection isn't just with one and another, but there also is a connection with something bigger than ourselves, the divine. I would submit to you that there has never been a culture, tribe, anything that has been discovered where they didn't seek to worship something. Whether it be a tree, whether it be a rock, whether it be a stream, whether it be the sun, whether it be whatever it is, humans have that innate nature in them to worship something. We just decide what that is. So let me ask you, who are we? As we move along on our path of spiritual awakenings and understandings, there is a progression. In her book, 21 Skills of Spiritual Intelligence, she'll look up in the quadrant 1. And Cindy Wigglesworth in her book talks about the first quadrant is an awareness of our own worldview, awareness of life purpose, values hierarchy, complexity of our inner thoughts, and awareness of ego and our higher self. Then as we grow, we move to the next quadrant, which is universal awareness. Awareness in interconnectedness, in worldviews of others, the breadth of time perception, awareness of limitations, power, awareness of spiritual laws, and experience of transcendent oneness. We also, when we move to the third quadrant, then we start getting more into about the self and the self-mastery. Commitments to a spiritual growth, growing higher self and change, living your purpose and values, sustaining faith, and seeking guidance. Then the fourth quadrant is when we go outside of ourselves, into the community, into the world. Being a wise and effective teacher, mentor, and of spiritual principles. Being a wise and effective leader, an agent of change. Making compassionate and wise decisions. Being a calming and healing presence, and being aligned with the ebb and flow of life. Spiritual justice is moving from the ego thinking, to the Christ mindset and the Christ consciousness, or our higher consciousness. If all we do is gain knowledge and understanding, but not the ability for the relationships, then we're nothing more than a bodybuilder. And think of it. I've seen strong men in my life, and they look nothing like a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder goes in and they build specific muscles to the way they look in a mirror. And they look at themselves and they say, I look great. And they go to competitions to determine how well they looked. But I'll tell you, a bodybuilder is not who I would want to help me on a job or move me. Even though they look strong, they lack the flexibility. They lack the ability to adapt to the environment because they're only built for one thing, and that's how they look. Are we creating a body that looks good in the mirror, but is worthless in how we function? Are we trying to give people the impression of strength? And then I should say that there's the impression of strength, and then there is the use of strength. Do we have the spiritual and emotional maturity to question or be questioned? To hear criticism or correction without feeling that we're attacked? As I said, started studying the Course in Miracles in January. Julie actually gave me the book a year and a half, 2 years ago. I tried reading it, made no sense. As many people, that's the same story, right? You look at it, and it is so below our thinking and our awareness that we put it down. Thankfully, she had faith in me and just kept sending me little tidbits. And come January, I was really questioned, and I really wanted to find out more. And as I started going to the weekly classes, and in that class, we have a prayer that we say at the very beginning. And I want you to say it all with me. I am here only to be truly helped. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. A little over 5 years ago, when I moved to Spokane, I was in a really big transition, because I was coming from a community where I had lived all my life, couldn't go anywhere without knowing somebody, to coming to a place where I didn't know anybody other than my son. I was also going through a transition in my spiritual growth. I was moving from conservatism and an evangelical Christianity. I was dismayed, let down, felt the values of where the religion was going was not me. My relationship with Jesus was still there, but my relationship with the church wasn't. Yet I always had my connection with Christ. I have always said that when I first visited this center 5 years ago, the hook for me was a mission we proclaimed: transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. In my time here, I have come to believe that the unity movement is as relevant today as it was 50 years ago. It's as relevant today as it was 125 years ago. It's a message about God inclusion. We have a powerful, inclusive, relative message for today's times. We are the practice of Jesus versus the worship of Jesus. We are teachings versus creeds. We are not here to evangelize, but to develop and deepen our relationship with God. We believe everything is connected. We believe in prayer, meditation, affirmation of spiritual truths, unconditional love, and guided visualizations. The message is relevant. But I would ask you this question: is this center relevant? I'm going to poke the bear today. So what is our why? In the business world, we talk about our why. Did I just lose this? Yeah, okay. In the business world, we talk about what is your why? What is your why for doing things? And I've sat through many presentations where someone gets up and the first part of their presentation is pictures of their family and what is it that they do, what is it that they love, and why are they sacrificing to do it? I saw a recent story about the fall of Boeing. The author cited about how Boeing in the early years was all about building the best aircraft. And over time, their why became the focus of shareholders and the bottom line. He said, Boeing seems to do the right thing after doing the wrong thing. They react. This isn't really anything new in corporate America today. In my personal opinion, we as a spiritual center are focusing on the wrong problem. We are reacting. We have a legacy here, yes. But what is that legacy? We see here second and third generation members. But what is our legacy? As a board, we have been asking ourselves what we can do to bring in more revenue and support the center. How we can use this building to bring in more revenue. This building is in desperate need of repair and updating. Frankly, I get frustrated because I believe we're asking the wrong questions. Is our legacy in this building, or is our legacy in the message of unity? Has our pride and our ego got caught up in the legacy of this building? This should be our why. This should be the reason why we get up and do what we do and why we want to show up every day here. Another way to ask is, what is the why to my tithe? Why do I give? And let me address the Unity community here. We are more than Unity South Hill, Unity North, or Unity Coeur d'Alene. We are more than 3 separate churches. We need to remove the division of Unity churches in this area because we are all unity. Looking at each as separate and thinking of another as a competition is a scarcity mindset. What we do here affects Unity North, and what Unity North does affects us, and what Coeur d'Alene does affects, we're all connected. So we need to be thinking as a whole. Oh, I'm sorry. In church trends, I've been following a lot of church trends lately, and the church trends are what are the churches doing? I've been sharing some articles as it relates to what are the sacred cows that the church needs to throw out because they're not working. They're things that we've held on to because it makes us comfortable, but they're not effective. I've had this belief since I moved here a few years ago that there is a group of people like me who feel alienated from God, feel alienated from the church because they feel the church has left them. They don't feel relevant. COVID also did a number on us, didn't it? It forced us to move out, away from, and be less connected. And in that less connecting, we became isolated, lonely. And where we are today, what we've been fighting back is trying to find out, how do we come back? How do we get connected again? Social media is another one. We get interconnected on social media with a false sense of connection. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've had 2 bouts in the last 6 months where I was scared because, and my mind was like, it threw me off. Because I sent text messages out, I sent emails out, I called people, and nothing was coming back. What a false sense of belief that was. I felt alone. And I wondered, what was I even doing? Rather than looking at it as a gift from God of giving me a pause from the busyness and all the stress that was going on. It was my opportunity that he was giving me to say, take a breath, son. You need to take a breath. But over the last few years, we've become too dependent on these things to give us a sense of purpose or connection. Our connection is this. That's how we connect. It's also one of the problems that it has given us is it has leapfrogged our ability to see the people next to us. I no longer see my neighbor. I see the guy that I used to go to high school with in Maine or in Georgia or wherever. And in California, we would see people would drive into, literally, I would see this. People drive into their car, drive into their driveway, hit the button, go in, hit the button, close the door, don't even make connection with people. They're so wrapped up in their world. In A Course in Miracles, one of the things it says is, let us not allow our minds to occupy themselves with senseless musings such as this. We have a mission here. We did not come to reinforce the madness which we once believed in. Let us not forget the goal which we accepted. It is more than just our happiness alone we came to gain. We want to accept what we accept as what we accept as what we are proclaims what everyone must be along with us. So one of the things I think, when I say I think we've got it wrong, is I think what we need to do is we need to create connection. And the old adage, if you build it, they will come, doesn't work. We need to get involved and get connected into the community. What does that look like? It looks like Bloomsday. One of the biggest spiritual experiences I have every year is going and doing Bloomsday. You know why? Because in Bloomsday, whether you're walking or running, regardless of how fast you are or how slow or what your pace is, there are hundreds, if not thousands of people along the side cheering you on. They don't look at your race. They don't look at your clothing. They don't look at your sexual orientation. They don't look at anything. They just look at you as an individual that's running the race. And they're cheering you on. It's amazing. It looks like Pride. Getting out and getting engaged with Pride. It looks like song circles that are happening in our city, where younger people are getting together for connection by just singing songs. Songs not just of a Christian faith, but of other faith and other beliefs. It looks like Family Promise, an organization here that is dedicated to helping families get from the street and get to housing, get into affordable housing. All of these things are opportunities in our community for us to go and get connected in. So, what's our why? I had a discussion with the Bassans, and one of the things they told me was that the reason why they come every Sunday is for their grandkids. It's for the next generation. That's their why. In addition to Braden and Brianna, they have served with the Locks, Gary and Marlene Locke, feeding street kids for the past 30 years. Prior to COVID, they cooked on site at the I don't know, what's the name of it? Crosswalk, thank you. They have served together at Crosswalk, and since COVID, they haven't been able to actually cook meals there, so they cook the meals in their house, and then they get together and take it. Additionally, Alan and Diane work as a team with people who are reading challenged. They go and sit and read with the kids and teach them how to read. The children benefit from one-on-one support as they work on mastering reading in a non-judgmental environment. Oops, I just did something. What's my why? Usually I begin my talks and I give you an update on my family. Because my family is why I moved here 5.5 years ago. I'll tell that story another time, but this is my kids now, my grandkids. My son, who you may often be familiar with, I've got 3 grandkids now. That's my why. And when I found it hard to be in here over the last 6 months, I went into the youth, because that's a why. And for those of you asking about my son, that's him this past Bloomsday, running his personal best, 1 hour and 30 minutes. When you consider that 5 years ago, he was 98% paralyzed and didn't know if we were going to make it. That's my why. My friends, if history has taught us anything, it is this. We are not going to change this country and this community at the ballot box. It's not going to happen by the meme that we post on Facebook or Instagram, or placing a love sign in our yards. And I'm guilty. Got one in my yard. We are going to change this country and the specific relationships that we make each and every day, and the people that we come in contact with and that we work alongside. Not evangelizing people, but inspiring them by the way that we treat others. It's going to take intentionality to turn things around. It's not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen in 4 years. It's going to happen in a generation or 2. While I watch a little bit of the news every day and what is going on, I give myself, just to give myself some relevance, I no longer allow it to get me upset or discouraged. At the end of the day, God is still sovereign. And I still trust in the power of prayer and manifestation. It's OPOPGGO. One power, one presence, God the good, omnipotent. I hope this morning I have provoked curiosity and not judgment. I hope I've pushed some buttons and got you stirring. If my talk has upset you and created negative emotion, I would ask you this. Why? What is provoking you? Finally, I would like you all to say this together with me. The peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me. Be the blessing. I needed music to settle into meditation. Let's all settle ourselves. Take a deep breath. Release. Take another deep breath in. And release. Think deeply into your inner self, your higher self. Recognize and affirm those things in you that make you uniquely you. What is it that you show up with each and every day? Reflect, deflect, reject any negative emotion or any negative thought that comes in. The little voice that's telling you what you're not, because it's not true. as we heard in the reading, we are created in the divine image of God. Who are you? What is it that you are called to do? And when you recognize and embrace those strengths in yourself, who are you in this we? Who are we, Unity Spiritual Center? What are we called to do? The light of God is shining in us. It's a bright light. It's a pure light. It's a light that only wants to see good. Feel yourself relax in this situation, this room. What does it mean to be here? What is your why? What makes you wake up and seize the day? Is it a child? Is it a parent? Is it a neighborhood? Is it a community? And what is ours to do? We rest on. For this is the time. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, Cheryl. It's beautiful. All right, we are going to enter our time of giving. I'm going to do something a little different today, as always. I'm going to ask you that you give from a place of desire, but not from a place of conviction or obligation. Yes, we have financial needs here. But more importantly is the reason and the why we give. So I'm going to ask you, if you don't know the why to why you give, just simply write why on an envelope. Just let us know. But if you know that we have a message, we have a movement, and we have a purpose here, and you want to be a part of that purpose, then give accordingly. For those of you online, you can text to a dollar amount to the number that's on the screen. You can also go to unityspokane.org online and give there. And you can also do it the old-fashioned way and mail us a check if you choose to do that. Although the price of stamps, you're better off just the way they're going up. You're losing money doing it that way, I think. So will you join me together as we give our blessing? I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. God the good, God of abundance and purpose, we thank you for these offerings, for these blessings that you give us through these individuals that are here today and online. We thank you for the honor and the privilege that we have to serve you and to serve the higher calling for the greater good. Multiply these gifts and these offerings and give us the wisdom and direction on how to apply them and use them in our community. And so it is.
Thank you, Cheryl, Theodora, and Jeff, for a very thought-provoking and beautiful service. We appreciate you. All right, together, let's say our unity statement. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one power, one presence, and one life. So whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are very welcome here. If you're here for the first time, we have a welcome packet with a coupon for a free beverage at our barista stand and some other gifts. So if you would please raise your hand if you so choose, so that our, thank you, here we have two people here. Yes, Pastor Strickland. I learned today that he was in charge of Silent Unity for many years, so if you get a chance to talk to him after the service, he's fascinating. So we're glad you're here. And for all of you, we have a QR sign, and we'd like everyone, if you haven't already signed up for the e-newsletter that comes out on Wednesdays, we would love for you to do that. It is chock full of information for you. Classes, everything that's going on here. So, we're glad you're all here today, and we're especially glad to have our guests. And we encourage everybody to also connect with us if you want to on social media. Our chaplains today are Ruth, who has been holding this service in prayer, thank you, Ruth, and Al, who will be up front and available to pray with you after the service. If you have something heavy on your heart, if you have a joy that you want to share, please avail yourself of this availability. And we thank our chaplains that are here today and all of our chaplains who work for us. And in the front pocket in front of you is a prayer request. You may fill that out, put it in our prayer boxes. There's one at the back of the sanctuary, one in the atrium. And our chaplains will pray on it for 30 days, and it'll all be sent to Silent Unity, and they will pray on it for 30 days. Because, prayer was the foundation of the entire movement. So it's pretty important. So now, wow, this lady was so good on Friday night, you wouldn't have believed her. Our diva, our Broadway diva, Gay Kruger Rebel.
Thank you. So, first, today is the second Sunday, and we have a new member orientation. So if anyone is looking to get a little bit more information about who we are, just thought I'd put that in for you, Jeff. Meet Karen in the library after service. And also, I'm really kind of excited about this. This is an evening under the stars with live music. We have another one that's coming up that the Connections team has organized. It's free. It's at Rocket Market. I think that's going to be a blast. That's going to be, where is he? Where is it here? I've lost it. Thank you. It's on Tuesday from 7 to 9. One of the things that was suggested, look for the love sign. That big red love sign, and if you want to sit with everyone there. And Rocket Market also has some great treats and wine and so forth if you want to just, pick up something there. And then also we have another Connections team event. It's the Spokane Indians baseball game. Tickets are available. You can actually go to our e-news and you can get your tickets. They're $13. These are better seats than last time. These are the upper box seats. They're only $13, and I think that's going to be a really fun event for the whole family. And now we have Rick with a board update.
Thank you, Gay. Who are we? What are we called to do? What is our why? Thank you, Jeff, for your inspiring message today. I'm Rick Hutchins, your board president. First, I want to thank all of you who came to our town hall meeting last Sunday. Your ideas and suggestions were much appreciated. Today, I want to tell you where your board would like to go from here. Before embarking on any innovative ideas, programs, or changes, on how we currently do things, we must first formulate very clear and specific questions and listen carefully to the answers, even when the answers are not what we want to hear. Your board has decided that the best way to process your ideas and suggestions is through focus groups and carefully constructed questionnaires. The problem with that is, if we only ask ourselves these questions, we will not necessarily get all the answers we need. That's why Jeff is right. To effect real change, perhaps we must step outside this congregation into our community to seek the answers to our questions. How can we better serve our community? How can we better partner with groups, individuals, and services in our community? How can our own Spokane community help us grow our congregation? We go out and ask questions, sometimes outside our comfort zone. That is how we will grow and spread our unity message. We can think just inside the box by looking at our church as if we were a grocery store. I can easily come up with a simple fruit salad by grabbing a can off the shelf. I can get more creative and go to our in-store produce section and get perhaps not all that fresh produce. But if we think outside the box, as Jeff suggests, and go into our community, to the farmers markets, and better yet, go to the growers themselves to complete our salad. Yeah. Okay, I know that's a silly analogy, but you made me board president, so I have a right to do that. I'll leave you with this. Of course, with our focus groups, our questionnaires, we're going to reach out to all of you. The point today and the point of the message is, will we really find the answers that way? I think not. I think we need to go out and ask the people in our community, the people we serve. And I do want to close with welcoming Reverend John Strickland and his wife Sandy from Tucson. They thought they were coming here to escape the heat. The temperature in Spokane today is identical to the temperature that's going to be in Tucson. But Reverend John Strickland is one of the oldest ministers in the Unity movement. How old? Oh, John Strickland's so old, he went to ministerial school with one of the Fillmores. I'm serious. Of course, it was the great-great-granddaughter of the Fillmores, but still, he went. But welcome, John and Sandy.
Thank you, Rick. All right, our children are here now, so let's get ready to sing them in. Walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. Well, welcome. Oh, we're so nice to have all of you here and the people who work with our children. And we bless you, especially the adults who are willing to give their time to work with our children. We appreciate it. And let's bless the children now and ourselves. Together, be the love you are. Sing the song you hear. Share your joy of life with people far and near. And for ourselves, Be the love we are, share a song we hear, share our joy of life with people far and near. All right, you may join.
Hold on.
Okay.
All right, Ben. So a couple weeks ago, our youth had a person come in and show them about planting, creating little gardens and planting seeds, and they planted these bean seeds. Well, Ben planted this, but he forgot to take it home. So Julie brought it home, and she's been watering it and speaking to it, and look at it sprout. Like, look how big that is. Just an example, if we plant the seeds and water it, they will grow.
Oh, better. All right, thank you. All right, kids, you can go to find the people who brought you here. And now please stand if you are able and join together for our prayer of protection, followed by the peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth.